When I got out of prison, a dozen luxury cars were waiting outside. Hundreds of my guys saw me, and they all bowed.
Storm!
They begged me to come back and take charge, but I ignored them and stopped in front of my plainly dressed wife. With tears in her eyes, she slapped me hard across the face. Once, twice, more. In front of everyone's stunned eyes, she slapped me over a dozen times. I pulled her into my arms and she broke down crying against my chest. I kissed her and said gently,
"From this day on, there is no more the storm."
She leaned into my arms and bit deep into my shoulder, leaving a mark. Ignoring all my guys, I took her hand and said softly,
"Come on, let's go home."
Back then, with one blade, I was the top killer. Half the river ran red with blood. The world called me the Storm. But on my wedding day, the police took me away. In her wedding dress, she cried her heart out. I finally saw. No matter how famous a man becomes, if he can't protect his own family, he's a coward. In prison, every time I thought of her tear-streaked face, I swore to myself I'd leave that life behind. These years, she has lived in poverty and hardship. She refused to take a single cent from them. Also, I could cut ties with my past. Now I'm finally out. But because I've done time, no one will hire me. She sold the diamond ring I gave her, and we bought a van to work hard. Our life was tight, but we were happy. She was even pregnant. Now just thinking that I can honestly be this child's father makes me happy. Until that day, we were out making a delivery when her water suddenly broke. I rushed her to the hospital, but when I reached an intersection, just as I was about to turn left, a BMW crossed the solid line and tried to cut in. Normally, I'd let it slide and give way, but today, she was about to give birth. Every second counted. The green light was about to end. If I let him in, I'd have to wait 2 minutes. Anyone who drives knows left turn red lights are the worst. I hit the gas at once, but the car beside me wouldn't back off. It kept edging into my lane, laying on the horn, ordering me to move aside. When we were about to collide, I couldn't back down. I gritted my teeth and kept going. He backed off. He didn't dare fight me anymore, but his car had already passed the intersection, so he had no choice but to turn left too. He rolled down his window and started cursing at me viciously.
Driving a beat-up van? What the hell are you acting tough for? You think you can afford to pay for a BMW?
If this were the old days, he'd already be dead. But I ignored him this time, because my wife's safety came first. She lay weakly in the passenger seat and said to me,
"Don't argue with him. Get to the hospital first."
I nodded, touched her belly, and told her not to worry. I know where the line is. I meant to let it go, but that BMW driver just couldn't let it rest. He suddenly pulled in front of me, swerved on purpose to cut me off, then slammed on the brakes. I stomped on my brakes too. The van jolted hard, and the seatbelt dug deep into my wife's belly. She cried out in pain.
"It hurts, honey, slow down."
Seeing my wife in such pain, the rage inside me started blazing. I had been driving slowly and carefully. How dare he try to hurt me with something as dangerous as a brake check? I thought the BMW driver had stopped to get out and argue with me, so I was about to step out and explain that we were rushing. But he suddenly drove off again. I let out a breath, thinking it was over. But it wasn't that simple. It was like his road rage had kicked in. He started crawling along on purpose, blocking me in front. Every time I tried to go left, he changed lanes to the left. When I tried to go right, he moved right too. He was driving me insane. I rolled down my window and shouted outside,
Move! We're going to the hospital!
I leaned on the horn, hoping he'd let us through, but he acted like he couldn't hear me and kept blocking my way. Murderous rage boiled up inside me. Those days kept flashing through my mind. If I were the man I used to be, he'd already be dead. Letting someone through is a courtesy. Not letting them through is my right. I never thought I'd run into a lunatic like this. My wife could see I was falling apart. Enduring the pain, she said playfully,
"You're the storm. You've weathered bigger storms than this. Can't you stay calm?"
"When it comes to you, I'll never know how to stay calm." All these years I've never been good with romantic words. But I can't help it. I'm scared something will happen to her. I love her so much. Gritting her teeth, she whispered,
"I can handle it. I've been the boss's wife for all these years. I wasn't raised to scare easy."
I forced myself to calm down. We'd be getting onto the overpass. The overpass is basically an urban expressway. Crawling along up there is dangerous. I believed he couldn't be that stupid. Just as I was thinking that, the BMW ahead suddenly sped up and moved right, opening the way. I breathed a sigh of relief and quickly picked up speed. Then I said gently to my wife,
It's okay now, honey. We're on the overpass now. We'll be at the hospital soon.
Her face had already gone pale from pain. And just then, my phone suddenly rang. I answered it, and an anxious voice came through.
"Storm, is this about to give birth? We're on our way to the hospital. I had someone make a huge 24K gold blessing lock."
You don't need to come, and I'm not taking your gifts either. I'm out of that life now.
"Storm, we're brothers. Just let us come see you."
I didn't answer because I saw the BMW's window suddenly roll down. I was still wondering what he was about to do, whether he wanted to start yelling at me, when I watched the driver throw a cup of milk tea out the window. It slammed hard against my windshield. The drink burst all over it, covering the whole glass. I couldn't see the road ahead at all. I was doing 80. My wife screamed in terror. I immediately slowed down, frantically telling myself, Slow down, don't change lanes. No matter how bad the visibility got, I could not switch lanes recklessly here. Even if it cost me my life, I had to keep my family safe. I forced the van to slow down, my heart pounding wildly. The brother on the phone panicked too, and quickly asked,
Storm, what happened? Why did she scream all of a sudden?
The seatbelt tightened around us again. My wife cried out in agony, clutching her stomach and sobbing.
It hurts so much! Honey, this guy's insane! He's trying to get us killed!
The brother on the other end started breathing heavily.
Storm, is someone missing with you?
I had no time to answer, because the milk tea has grease in it. No matter how hard the wipers worked, there was still a thick, oily film on the glass. I still couldn't see the road ahead. Then, that BMW driver once again pulled right in front of me. He stopped crawling this time, but with me barely able to see ahead, he would speed up one moment, then slam on the brakes the next, torturing me on purpose. I wanted nothing more than to drag that bastard out of his car. We were already on the expressway, and my brothers on the phone were furious too.
No one lays a hand on Storm. Call everyone. Now, right now. Storm, we're coming to you. Tell me now. Where are you? Everyone, protect Storm and his wife at all costs.
I ignored them. When he slammed on the brakes, there was an opening in the left lane. That was my chance to pass. I quickly jerked the wheel left, trying to overtake on the left, but the van accelerated too slowly. So after braking hard, the BMW driver quickly realized I was trying to pass. He immediately swerved back into my lane, but half my car was already over. What he did was illegal, blocking an overtake like that. We were about to collide, and I was going to hit the brakes, but then I looked at my wife beside me. She already had a firm grip on the handle, her eyes full of resolve. In that moment, it was like I saw her as she used to be, carrying herself like the boss lady by my side. I gritted my teeth. Not only did I not brake, I floored the gas instead. At last, the BMW driver chickened out again, but by then, it was too late to back out. My front end slammed hard into his car. Bang! I could keep my wheel steady and stop my car from skidding, but he was already changing lanes. His car started skidding instantly and almost rolled over. It was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I quickly completed the pass. I have to admit, BMWs really are stable. In my rearview mirror, I saw that after his car started skidding, it clipped the roadside barrier and blew out a headlight, but it steadied itself again very quickly. What I did completely enraged the BMW driver. After he regained control, he came after me again. I let out a deep sigh. There was nothing I could do. It wasn't that I was worse than him. My car just couldn't outrun his. His car does 0 to 100 in just 5 seconds, but my van was loaded with cargo, so 0 to 100 would take nearly 20 seconds. That's a fourfold gap. How was I supposed to shake him? And my car was already starting to wobble. For safety's sake, I had no choice but to get off the overpass. After all, I couldn't risk my wife's safety. I pulled over to the side of the road and turned on my hazard lights. I figured that if I explained it clearly, that driver would have to let me go. Taking that chance, I hurried out of the car and used an oil film cleaner on the windshield. That way, my wife could get to the hospital as fast and safely as possible. When that BMW saw me pull over, it stopped right in front of me too. The BMW driver seemed afraid I'd run, so he even backed up and pressed his car right up against mine, leaving my car without even an inch to move forward. Only then did he get out. The moment he did, he pointed at my face and started cursing me out.
You drive a van and you've got that much attitude? How dare you not yield to a BMW? Don't you know your place?
If this were before, I'd have already punched him in the face. But for my wife's sake, I swallowed my anger and said,
I couldn't give you room. There's a woman in labor in my car. We need to get to the hospital now.
When he heard that, he walked over to my window and looked at my wife. Then he said in shock,
Someone in your car is about to give birth and you're still acting this arrogant on the road? If you just yielded in the first place, none of this would have happened.
I really couldn't understand it. I just didn't yield to him. How does that make me arrogant? I said,
I was in the left turn lane. You were already on the solid line. You weren't allowed to change lanes over a solid line.
Don't give me that crap. You scraped my car. Pay up before you leave.
I don't get why I'm the one paying. I'm telling you.
This was clearly all your fault. So why should I pay for it? I'm in a hurry to get to the hospital. Let the traffic police decide.
Just try and leave. That'll count as a hit and run.
I thought once he knew my wife was rushing to the hospital to give birth, he'd grow a conscience, but he didn't. Worse than that, he took advantage of the fact that I was in a desperate hurry and tried to pin a hit and run on me. I clenched my fists. My wife sensed something was wrong. She said weakly,
Don't do it! You promised me you'd never fight again!
I took a deep breath and forced down my anger. I said,
Look, man, call the police if you want. We can sort this out later. Just let me go first. Don't make this harder on me.
I grabbed the door handle to get in, but he slammed his foot into my car door. With a loud bang, he kicked it shut. He pointed at my face and said,
Who the hell do you think you are? This is a BMW. Listen carefully. Just because your wife's in labor doesn't mean the kid in her belly gets to die. No one out here has to indulge you.
I don't have time to argue with you. My wife is about to give birth.
He shrugged like he couldn't care less.
Why the hell should I care? It's not my wife giving birth. You almost ran me over just now. Either you pay up right now and get on your knees and apologize, or this isn't over.
Are you insane?
Oh? A beat-up van doesn't yield to a BMW, and now you're calling me insane? I really can't make sense of this world anymore.
At that moment, I finally understood. This bastard was no good. He looked down on me just because I was poorer than him, like that made me beneath him, like I should give way to him. My wife was afraid I'd get into a fight, so from the passenger seat, through the pane, she said,
"Look, man, we really don't have that much money on us. My husband's money is all on the medical card for my delivery. We'll write you an IOU first and let the traffic police decide, okay?"
Ow. Fuck. You're broke as hell and you still dared cut off a BMW?
I wanted nothing more than to smash my fist into his ugly face. But my wife's pained groans kept pulling me back to my senses. Holding back my anger, I said,
We've already given you a solution. How about this? If you're okay with it, we'll write an IOU, then let the traffic police decide. Just let us go first.
He shrugged and said,
The thing is, why should I wait for the traffic police? Are you trying to shake us down now? You know this is entirely your fault. And now, with my wife about to give birth, you're trying to cash in on us while we're desperate.
It was just an honest assessment, but it seemed to wound the BMW driver's pride.
Who the hell are you to say I'm extorting you?
I raised my hand on instinct and blocked his wrist with my elbow. So not only did he fail to hit me, he cried out in pain instead. Years of instinct kicked in before I could think, and my other hand went straight for his throat. I lifted him with one hand. With my hand clamped around his neck, the BMW owner stared at me in terror, his legs kicking wildly in midair. I couldn't make out a word he was saying. My wife panicked and hurriedly said,
Honey, don't do this!
I fixed the BMW owner with a hard stare. If this had happened before, every piece of trash like him would have gone down just as easily. At the same time, the door of the BMW suddenly swung open, and two more people got out. They pointed at me and started cursing.
You wanna die? You still dare to fight back?
So there were other people in the car. I just hadn't noticed them before. I glanced at them and finally let go. It wasn't because I got scared. I could have taken all of them down easily, but these people have no conscience. If they got desperate and didn't come at me, but went after my wife instead, I'd never forgive myself. The BMW owner fell to the ground and coughed twice in pain. He had no idea I was worried about my wife. He thought I was scared. Through gritted teeth, he said,
So now you know to back down? Weren't you acting tough just now?
With his friends helping him, he got up, then snarled,
Before 20,000 would have done, but now I'm telling you, you're not leaving without 50,000. You little bastard, how dare you lay a hand on me?
My wife said anxiously,
My husband didn't hit you. You were the one who struck first. He was only defending himself.
One of the BMW driver's friends said coldly,
Funny, I didn't see my buddy lay a hand on anyone. I only saw your husband hitting people.
My wife broke down. She said frantically,
Don't twist the facts! There are cameras all over this street! My husband's only been out for a little over a year! Please don't ruin his life!
When they heard that, they froze for a second, then burst out laughing. The BMW owner walked up to me and jabbed a finger into my chest as he said,
Wouldn't have guessed it. So you've done time, huh? Was it for stealing or for robbing women? Or are you robbing women now?
I ignored him and grabbed the door handle,
This is my last warning. Stop getting in our way. I have to get my wife to the hospital now.
but he grabbed my wrist and sneered.
You think prison makes you tough?
Back when we didn't bother studying, we got into gang fights too.
I had no idea what he was talking about. Skipping school and getting into street fights was nothing compared to the bloodshed I'd seen. Just then, one of them shouted,
If you want to leave, pay up 50,000. Didn't you say you love your wife? Then pay up.
Cash only!
Egged on by his friends, the BMW driver started laughing.
You can't even come up with the money, and you're still trying to play the devoted husband in front of your wife.
I really didn't want to waste my time on them. Luckily, I always kept pen and paper in the car for work. I took them out and wrote, I owe you 50,000. I knew there was no way I was paying that. Once my wife got to the hospital, the police could sort it out. But what I didn't expect was that when I handed the note to the BMW driver, he tore it up on the spot and said coldly,
You think your IOU means anything? What if you leave a note and run?
What exactly do you want? I've already put up with enough for my wife's sake.
I don't believe you're the kind who'd ever repay a debt. I want cash and cash only. I don't care if you borrow it online or however you do it. Get me 50,000. Then for what you just did, get on your knees and apologize. I can't get an online loan.
I'm not lying. I've been to prison, so I haven't been able to hold a regular job. No lender would give me money. But the BMW owner clearly had no intention of letting me off. He said coolly,
Then borrow it from someone else.
Just as I was about to refuse, my phone rang again. It was a call from my brothers. Before I could do anything, the BMW driver snatched the phone away. He looked at the caller ID and said,
Brothers, huh? So it's your buddies calling, right? Perfect timing. Then have your brothers scrape the money together.
If you answer this call, you'll bring disaster on yourself.
You drive a beat-up car, but you've got a big mouth.
With that, he answered the call himself and put it on speaker. On the other end, my brother said anxiously,
How is it, Storm? Did you make it to the hospital safely?
The BMW driver said impatiently,
A guy driving a beat-up van dares to call himself something that grand? He hit my car. Transfer 50,000 right now, or he's not going anywhere.
On the other end, I could hear my brothers breathing hard.
Where are you? We're coming right now.
Main Street, we agreed on 50,000. If you're even a cent short, your brother isn't leaving either. You can call the police if you want, but that's fine by me. I've got money. I can play with you all day.
We're not calling the police. We'll play along. We'll bring 500,000, and we hope you won't call the police either.
The call was cut off. The BMW driver was left completely baffled by what my guys said. He said,
"What the hell are these people talking about? First they say they're bringing 500,000 for me. Then they tell me not to call the police."
One of his friends said with a laugh,
"They're just trying to scare you. Like they're really bringing you 500,000 as a settlement."
The BMW driver shook his head and said,
"Do poor people always brag this much? I'm so scared. When your buddies get here, they're not going to beat me up, are they?"
That smug face of his made me sick. I fought the urge to punch him in the face and walked over to the passenger side. I took my wife's hand and said gently,
"Don't be scared. They'll be here any minute. Since they're on their way, you'll make it to the hospital safely."
My wife choked back a sob and whispered,
I'm sorry, honey. I've made you owe them another favor.
I shook my head, kissed the back of her hand and said softly,
"As long as you're safe, nothing else matters."
But the BMW driver and the others beside him burst out laughing. The BMW driver pointed at me and said,
"Oh wow, now you owe them a favor? So are you gonna haul cargo for free now?"
His friend cackled and said,
"Seriously, one delivery run isn't cheap. It's gotta be at least 200.
After being humiliated again and again, my wife finally broke. She cried out.
Why do you have to bully people? You were the ones in the wrong from the start.
The BMW owner said,
"So what if we're bullying you? I really don't get it. What's wrong with bullying you?"
He walked up to me and said arrogantly,
My car cost more than yours, so of course you should pay. I have more money than you, so of course you deserve to be bullied. Got a problem with that?"
I clenched my fists. He lowered his head and looked at my hands, then let out a cold sneer.
"Go on, hit me. A broke loser like you, if you lay a hand on me, once you end up in jail, your whole family will go bankrupt. But I'm different. Even if I beat you half to death, I've got more than enough money to pay you off."
His friend said,
"Quit scaring him. He wouldn't dare touch you. He's about to become a father. He's still counting on hauling freight to buy formula."
The BMW owner said arrogantly,
Hear that? That's the difference between you and me. I could beat you right here today and my company would still be making money. But if you touch me, your kid will be starving tomorrow.
Just then, a thunderous roar suddenly came from the sky. I knew the brothers' arrangement had arrived. It was a hospital rescue helicopter overhead, and there was a wide open space right beside us. As the helicopter slowly descended, the BMW owner and his friends stared wide-eyed. The BMW owner said in shock,
"Holy shit! You actually called in a rescue chopper? That's gotta cost 50 per kilometer, right? You don't have much money, so don't bankrupt yourself trying to save face for your wife."
His friend beside him said,
It's more than that. That's the price at a public hospital. Look, that looks like Crestwood Hospital's helicopter. No way it's under 200 per kilometer.
Isn't Crestwood Hospital a private hospital that only serves Crestwood Group?
Crestwood was the group I built with my brothers back then. But hearing that name again left me dazed for a moment. As they looked at the Crestwood helicopter, they started to get nervous.
Could he be with Crestwood? If this really is Crestwood, we're in no position to mess with them.
The BMW owner hesitated for a moment. Then he walked up to me and asked,
"Are you with Crestwood Group? If you work for Crestwood Group, I'll apologize to you. Just show me your employee ID and you can go. You won't have to pay a thing."
Just then, his friend beside him said in shock,
"Wait, I remember now. Isn't Crestwood's chairman Jake Reed out of prison for over a year now? His wife just said he'd been out for a little over a year. Could he be the Storm?"
Yeah, and on that call just now, his friend called him Storm.
In an instant, a flicker of panic crossed the BMW owner's face, but he quickly steadied himself and said,
"How could the Storm be driving a truck here? But whether he's the Storm or not, even some low-level employee from Crestwood is still someone we can't afford to cross."
Compared with how arrogant they were just now, they were suddenly much more polite. The BMW owner said,
"Brother, I didn't know you were with Crestwood Group. Show me your employee ID and we'll call it even. I'll pay for your repairs."
"How would I have an employee ID? I've already cut ties with my past. Why would I still be with the group?" I said honestly,
"I don't have an employee ID."
The flattering look on his face slowly froze. Then it was replaced by bitter, humiliated contempt.
"Damn, I thought you were with Crestwood. Why the hell call in the hospital helicopter? It's 200 per kilometer. Can you even afford that?"
The moment they heard I didn't have a Crestwood employee ID, they all relaxed. Once again, they turned back into the kind who bully the weak and fear the strong.
Maybe the helicopter came for someone else.
Scared the hell out of me. I was wondering how a guy driving a van could possibly be with Crestwood.
The BMW owner showed his true colors again. He pointed at my face and said,
"I thought you worked for Crestwood. Hand over 50,000 now and get on your knees and apologize."
I didn't have time for them. I hurried to unbuckle my wife's seatbelt instead. By the time I scooped my wife up, the medical team had already gotten off the helicopter. They rushed straight over to me. One of the paramedics quickly asked,
"You booked bed 32 at Pinewood Women's and Children's Hospital, right?"
"Right." The moment he heard that, the BMW driver burst out laughing.
"So she's being taken to Pinewood Women's and Children's Hospital.
I thought she was headed to Crestwood Hospital.
This guy really went all out. Pinewood doesn't have a helicopter, so he paid to rent one from Crestwood. You almost had me there.
I thought you were with Crestwood. Turns out you just rented their chopper.
The paramedics had no idea what we were arguing about. They quickly helped lay my wife on the stretcher instead. Then one of them turned to the others and said,
"Ready, let's move."
But the BMW driver grabbed the stretcher. Shaking his head, he said,
"Hold it, he can't leave."
"What do you mean?"
The BMW driver said, "I don't want any trouble with Crestwood, but this couple still owes me money. They can't go." After that, he shoved me again and said,
"You poor loser really know how to put on an act. You knew you couldn't afford to cross me, so you borrowed Crestwood's name and thought you'd scare me."
At that moment, I finally couldn't hold back my anger. He had been feeding off my wife's life and death crisis, profiting from her suffering. I grabbed the BMW driver by the throat. Terrified, he stumbled backward. The moment his friends saw me make a move, they rushed over and grabbed my clothes, trying to yank me aside. In the chaos, my shirt got torn open, exposing the black dragon tattoo across my back.
A full-back black dragon!
The instant they saw my tattoo, they couldn't help crying out. One of them said in shock,
"Isn't that tattoo only for the storm?"
Even the BMW driver just stared at me blankly. Then he seemed to figure something out and said excitedly,
"Now I know why you called for a Crestwood helicopter. You broke loser just because you've done time and got a full-back black dragon tattoo. You called in a Crestwood helicopter to pretend you're the storm in front of us."
His analysis made all his friends realize it too.
Now that you mention it, that's true. He's trying so hard to make himself look connected to Crestwood. That way, anyone who doesn't know better would really be scared off.
The BMW driver let out a sigh and said,
"Coward. I only wanted some compensation from you, but you're really trying to get yourself killed. Do you know how suicidal it is to impersonate the Storm? The Storm has been in prison for years, and Crestwood Group has still kept a chairman's seat for him. Those people are fiercely loyal. All these years, anyone who dared pretend to have ties to the Storm has been taken care of by them. You really are too ignorant to fear death."
After saying that, he grabbed me with one hand and pulled out his phone with the other. With a vicious grin, he said to me,
"What a coincidence. My boss happens to do business with Crestwood. What do you think will happen if I give him a call and let Crestwood know about this?"
I said,
"You're asking to die."
Why so quiet now? Still putting on an act for me? If you'd ever learn to keep your feet on the ground?
Faced with all this humiliation, my wife finally couldn't take it anymore. She broke down and said,
"My husband is the Storm."
Do you take me for an idiot? Or do you take the Storm for one? Who would give up being chairman of Crestwood Group to drive a van making deliveries?
He really is the Storm. I'm not lying.
The BMW driver turned to the paramedic and said,
"This guy claims he's the Storm. He says he's your chairman. I'm just a low-level employee. Storm's old brothers are all top executives. How would I know what Storm looks like?
I only know there's an emergency call here. Don't get in the way of our work." The BMW driver said,
"Are you sure I'm the one getting in your way? If this guy is pretending to be the Storm, and you save his wife anyway, how are you going to answer to your bosses?"
The paramedic shot back.
"Then how can you prove he's a fake?"
The BMW driver said coolly.
"Whether he's the Storm, we'll know in a second."
The BMW driver suddenly made a video call. As soon as the call connected, he pointed the camera at me and said with a grin,
"Mr. Zachary, thanks for all your support. Guess what? I was out today and ran into some bum in a beat-up van who actually dared to impersonate Storm."
The man on the other end saw me and froze on the spot. Then his face turned dark. I knew him. Zach. Back then, he used to trail after us like a lapdog. The BMW driver said,
"I heard you used to run with the Storm's crew back in the day, so I figured you wouldn't just let some loser like this go around smearing Storm's name, so I reported it to you right away."
Zach said,
"Where are you?"
The BMW driver quickly replied,
"I'm just down the street from your office. I was already headed this way today to stop by your company and talk business, but then I ran into this loser."
"Okay, I'm coming down now."
The video call was cut off abruptly. The BMW driver still had no idea disaster was about to hit him. He burst out cackling.
"You're done for. You've completely offended someone you can't afford to cross."
I looked at him coldly. He had no idea that the one who was really finished was him. Zach owed me a favor from back then, so he moved fast. Not long after the call ended, I saw the BMW driver frantically waving in one direction as he shouted,
"Mr. Zachary, we're over here."
I turned and looked. There was Zach, leading a whole group of people, all of them striding toward us. So he'd started a company here, but I'd cut ties with my past, so I had no idea. At the same time, from far down the street came the thunder of engines. I knew the brothers had arrived. More than 10 luxury cars were driving straight toward us. Maybachs, G-Wagons, Bentleys, too many to count. The moment he saw all those luxury cars appear, the BMW driver froze, and when those cars pulled up beside us, his eyes went even wider.
"Good lord, what kind of lineup is this?"
The brothers got out of their cars and started walking toward us. Leading the way, Blade carried a briefcase. The moment they saw Blade, the BMW owner blurted out excitedly,
"Isn't that Blade from Crestwood Group?"
What's Blade doing here?
Isn't it obvious? He's here to see Mr. Zachary. Don't forget they used to be brothers. I must be insanely lucky. Blade gets to see me catch someone pretending to be Storm.
The BMW driver waved excitedly. When the guys and Zach came over to me, the BMW driver quickly pointed at me and said,
Mr. Zachary, Blade, this is the guy who was pretending to be Storm. I caught him.
What's going on? I was driving on the road just now when I ran into this punk. He was driving like a maniac and picking a fight with me. He hit my car and refused to pay. He kept saying his wife was in labor. Then he panicked and pretended to be Storm, so I called you over right away.
At that moment, his friends beside him hurried to chime in too.
Mr. Zachary, this guy is seriously out of line. It took all of us working together just to stop him.
The BMW driver could tell his friends wanted credit too, so he quickly added,
"Hey, right. My friends helped too. If they hadn't pitched in, we really couldn't have stopped him."
Blade said,
"It was you guys, right?"
The BMW owner nodded repeatedly.
Yeah, Blade. I never thought I'd have the honor of meeting you. You got here just in time. This bum even called for backup. If his friends had shown up, we really couldn't have stopped him. His friends were even threatening me on the phone just now, saying everyone avoids me on sight.
The BMW owner kept rambling on, but Zach had already had enough. He raised his hand and slapped the BMW driver hard across the face, roaring,
"You suicidal idiot!"
A sudden slap left the BMW driver stunned. He clutched his cheek and said blankly,
"Mr. Zachary, why did you hit me?"
Zach said through gritted teeth.
"Don't call me Mr. Zachary. Every deal I had with you was off."
The BMW owner panicked. He hurriedly said,
"Why? We have so many deals. How can they all be off? Mr. Zachary, didn't I do you a favor today? You have to be kidding. If our deals fall through, I'll go bankrupt."
Zach said coldly,
"Who the hell do you think you are to think I'd joke with you?"
Then he turned around and quickly bowed to Blade.
"I'm sorry, Blade. He's not one of my men. We only do business together. I really didn't expect him to be this blind and clueless."
Blade ignored Zach. Instead, carrying the briefcase, he walked up to the BMW driver and handed it to him. The BMW owner froze. He asked in confusion,
Blade, what do you mean by this?
Blade opened the briefcase. The cash inside left the BMW owner dumbfounded. Blade said,
"I told you on the phone just now I'd bring you 500,000.
The smile on the BMW owner's face instantly froze. He stared blankly at the cash, swallowed hard, and said,
Blade, you mean the one who called me just now was...
"You idiot with a death wish! I was the one who called you! He wasn't pretending! He is Storm!"
In an instant, all the brothers bowed to me in unison. They shouted together. The BMW owner was terrified. His face went pale, his legs gave out, and he dropped to his knees. His friends weren't doing any better. They all stared at me in disbelief. Then the BMW owner pointed at me and said with a trembling voice,
"You really are the Storm!"
I ignored the brothers bowing to me and walked over to my wife. Taking her hand, I said gently,
Honey, let them take you to the hospital first.
Will you come?
I will. I'll be there once I've handled this.
The paramedics didn't dare delay any longer. They quickly lifted my wife onto the helicopter. As the helicopter took off, I turned and glanced at the BMW owner. He shuddered all over in fright and blurted out,
"Storm, I really had no idea you were the Storm. If I'd known who you were, even if you gave me 10,000 guts, I still wouldn't have dared cross you."
I said,
There's no the Storm here. I cut ties with that life long ago. So what you're saying is, if I were just an ordinary man, I deserve to be bullied by you.
That's not what I meant.
You made yourself very clear. You're richer than I am, so even if you hit my car, I'm the one who pays. You're richer than I am, so I deserve to be bullied by you.
The BMW driver was too nervous to speak. Blade frowned and said,
So if someone's richer than you, that means they can bully you, right?
He clapped his hands. One of the lackeys beside him instantly got the message. The lackey got into a Bentley, then slammed it hard into the BMW. With a thunderous crash, the BMW's front end was crushed in, but they still didn't stop. After the first hit, the thug backed up again and slammed into it a second time. He did it over and over. Both cars were nearly totaled. The BMW owner and his friends were shaking all over in fear, not daring to say a word. Only then did Blade say with satisfaction,
By your logic, I'm richer than you. Now that I've smashed your car, shouldn't you be paying me?
The BMW driver turned deathly pale. He stammered,
"Blade, one of your wheels alone could buy half my car. How could I ever afford to pay you?"
Blade said coldly.
So you're saying you don't plan to pay? That's fine. Then all of you can pay together. You seem pretty tight, close enough to gang up on a pregnant woman. So paying together shouldn't be a problem, right?
They were all terrified. They scrambled over to me and begged me for mercy.
"Storm, please, let us go! We won't dare do it again! Storm, we were wrong! Please just let us off the hook!"
Their two-faced act only made me sick. They were all bullies who preyed on the weak. If someone was poorer than them, they went all in. But if someone was richer, they started begging for mercy. If I weren't the Storm, if I were just some ordinary poor man, who knows how badly they'd have trampled me today. So when they begged for mercy, I only shook my head.
I'm out of that life. What happens at Crestwood is none of my business.
Storm, I'm begging you. I'm on my knees here. I'll pay for your car. Name your price.
Before he could finish, Blade grabbed him by the hair and dragged him aside. He said impatiently,
Storm's out of the game now. He can't call the shots anymore. Don't you get that?
The BMW owner said through tears.
Blade, I admit I like picking on poor people, but I'm only middle class. Even if you sold everything I own, I still couldn't afford your car.
Zack said coldly.
No, you can afford it. Sell your company, then sell your house. That should cover his car.
The BMW owner said anxiously.
Then I'll lose everything.
Blade asked, puzzled.
And what's wrong with that? I have more money than you, so you deserve to be bullied by me. Isn't that your logic?
I walked up to the BMW owner, looking down at him and said,
You never should have changed lanes across a solid line and cut him off, right?
The BMW owner nodded repeatedly. Crying, he said,
Storm, we were wrong. I never should have looked at your van and decided to bully you.
I went on.
And you admit the dangerous driving and illegal lane changes after that too, right?
I do. I admit all of it. It was all my fault.
Then remember to wire the repair money to my card.
I will. I'll send you the repair money.
I'm letting the van incident slide, but you wrecked that Bentley. You can't just walk away from that, can you?
The BMW driver froze. He said anxiously,
I didn't hit that luxury car. I never even touched it. It came at me first.
I shrugged and said,
By your logic, their car costs more than yours. If they hit you, why didn't you get out of the way?
Blade picked up where I left off. He said,
You drive a lousy BMW and you don't even know to yield to a Bentley.
The BMW owner had gone pale. Just then, one of the lackeys came over with an agreement in hand. Blade said,
Sign this agreement. You hit my car, so you should pay for it.
The BMW driver said through tears.
Blade, if I sign this, I'll really go bankrupt. I'll lose everything.
Blade said with contempt.
People like you with a little money go around bullying others. Do you deserve to be rich?
The BMW driver took the pen, but his hand kept shaking. He still didn't dare sign it. His tears kept dripping onto the agreement. He was falling apart.
Please just let me go. I really can't afford it. I know I was wrong.
I said,
No, you don't. You just know you messed with someone you can't afford to cross.
The BMW driver was still hesitating. Then Zack spoke.
You came to see me today because you wanted me to pay your invoice, right? Do you know what happens if I don't pay you?
The BMW driver blurted out.
You're my biggest client. If you don't pay me, I'll definitely go bankrupt.
Zack said.
Exactly. I can keep your payment on hold. Once your cash flow breaks, a whole crowd of creditors will come after you. I can drag this out forever.
Tell me, can you afford to wait?
The BMW driver panicked. He hurriedly said,
No, please. Mr. Zachary, before the court even rules, my creditors will kill me first.
Zack said.
A factory like yours is tied up in a lot of private loans. When you can't pay them back, tell me, who's worse, us or those private lenders out there?
The BMW driver was trembling all over. Those private lenders aren't like Crestwood. Crestwood still knows where to draw the line, but those underground lenders will do anything to get their money back. The BMW driver cried and said,
This is too much. You're bullying me.
Zack said.
So what if we are? When you were bullying Storm just now, what kind of face were you making? Listen carefully. Making you go bankrupt now is the kindest thing we can do for you.
The BMW driver had no choice. He could only sign the agreement. In a low voice, he said,
I'll pay. Even if it ruins me, I'll pay.
With trembling hands, he signed the agreement. I walked over to the totaled BMW and looked inside. Sure enough, there were still 2 milk teas inside. I picked up one of them and walked over to the BMW driver. He knelt in front of me, too scared to say a word. I poured the milk tea over his head. He didn't dare resist. Instead, he fawned and said,
Storm, that was well deserved.
I asked, how is someone who drives a van beneath you?
No, I was wrong. I shouldn't have thought that way. I can't compare to you at all.
Don't try to flatter me. Remember this. People earn their living with their own hands. They don't live off your charity. Don't think that just because you've made a little money, you can look down on others.
Storm, we were wrong!
I turned to his other 2 friends and said coldly,
You two seem to be having a great time backing him up just now, didn't you?
The 2 of them were trembling in fear. One of them hurriedly said,
Storm, we were just watching. He was the one acting out just now. It had nothing to do with us.
I let out a cold laugh.
You were ganging up on someone a second ago, and now that trouble's here, you're already blaming each other.
Zack quickly said,
Storm, I know these 2. They do business with my company too. They came today because they just bought a batch of new equipment, hoping for more orders.
I said with interest, a batch of new equipment? If you don't get more orders and lose the ones you already have instead, wouldn't that be a disaster? The moment they heard that, both of them went pale with fright and started kowtowing to me non-stop.
Please don't, Storm. We've bet our entire fortune on this.
Zack said coldly.
Stop begging, Storm. I'm canceling all your orders. And as for your other partners, I'll be having a word with them too.
One of them panicked and scrambled over to me. He threw his arms around my leg and cried.
Storm, my family is drowning in debt. All I want is to close this deal. I'm begging you, Storm. I have a whole family to support.
I said.
When my whole family was in the car and I was rushing them to the hospital, did you let me go?
He was instantly speechless. I kicked him away hard and said impatiently,
When you're bullying others, you act lawless. But when it's your turn, you expect mercy. You don't get that kind of deal in this world.
Blade said respectfully.
Storm, don't worry. We'll take care of everything.
I nodded. Blade hesitated for a moment, then finally spoke again.
Storm, why not come back and take charge? The brothers are all waiting for you. Look at how badly you're doing out here. Even these punks can push you around.
I said nothing. Blade wasn't wrong. I've been working hard out here, only to be treated like this. If I went back to Crestwood Group, I'd be living a much better life. My wife and child wouldn't be bullied either. Just as I was thinking that, my phone suddenly rang. I quickly answered it. My wife's weak voice came through.
Honey, we have a beautiful daughter.
My heart trembled. In that instant, warmth flooded my heart. I quickly said, I'll bring the things over right away. You need clean towels and a wash basin, right? Is there anything else I should get? All the brothers were waiting for my word, but I listened with all my heart. My wife told me to buy some diapers and formula. As I listened to her instructions, a quiet warmth of happiness rose in me again. After I wrote everything down, I hung up. Then I let out a long sigh and said, Thank you for waiting for me all this time. But I'm not going back, Blade said anxiously.
Storm, are you really willing to live such an ordinary life?
I said.
This ordinary life is hard, but it's fulfilling. Every penny I earn is honest money, and I sleep with a clear conscience at night.
Blade said. Crestwood's clean now too. The guys quit that life years ago. Everyone's doing honest business now.
I gave a bitter smile and said,
Crestwood is still clean because I never went back. If I did go back, once our old enemies heard the Storm Syndicate was back, do you really think they'd just let all those old grudges go?
Blade said through gritted teeth.
If anyone dares lay a hand on you, we'll fight him to the death.
I said,
The only reason everyone can do honest business now is because I never went back to Crestwood. I walked away from that life not just to give my family peace of mind, but to give you all a future too.
The brothers said nothing because they knew I was right. If I went back, everyone would know the Storm was back. Even if they didn't come after me, they'd still worry that I'd come settle old scores. It's an unspoken rule. As long as the one at the top lets it all go, everyone else lets the past stay buried, so everyone can live a steady life, especially my wife and child. I have to do this. Blade understood what I meant too. He let out a long sigh and said,
Since this is how you feel, we won't force you. We only hope you'll accept this.
He beckoned with his hand, and at once one of the brothers brought over a tray. There were 2 items on it. One was a 24K gold blessing lock, and the other was a 24K gold peace stove. Blade said,
We made the blessing lock. As for this peace stove, it was made by your old enemies. Actually, they want the same thing you do, Storm. As long as you don't go back to Hongsheng, the peace holds for everyone.
With that, Blade suddenly dropped to his knees before me. I quickly asked,
What are you doing?
Blade said,
Storm, this peace stove was made a year ago. We've always hoped you'd come back, so we never planned to give it to you. I'm sorry.
I reached out and ran my hand over the solid gold peace stove. Then I said softly,
So this is the pension they prepared for me.
Blade said,
That's right. As long as you accept this, the Storm will truly be a thing of the past.
Zack couldn't help but say,
Just take it. Think of it as saying goodbye to the past. These things may be valuable, but compared to all you've given up, they're just a drop in the bucket.
I hesitated for a moment, but in the end, I took their gift. When they saw me accept it, the brothers finally breathed a sigh of relief. I tossed the gift into the van. This time, the brothers didn't follow me. They just stood not far away, watching me. After I got in the van, they all bowed again. Under their gaze, I drove away. I was a little reluctant to leave, but I also knew it was time to embrace a new life. When I got to the hospital, the moment I pushed open the ward door, I saw my wife lying in bed, holding our child. I hurried over to her and gently kissed her on the forehead. Smiling, my wife asked me,
Is everything settled?
I nodded. Then she asked,
Did you really say goodbye to the past this time?
I did. From now on, I'll stay by your side, live an honest life, and take care of you and our daughter.
I wrapped an arm around her shoulders and said softly, I once stood at the top, but all that smoke of the past means less than this moment of happiness. I was once the Storm, but from now on, I'll only be an ordinary father.